Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, let's be honest, so much has changed in our lives over the last 12 months, but I think most people have now gotten comfortable with hybrid working. A little bit of work in the office for when your significant other is driving you nuts at home and you just need to escape, and a little working from home too. And technology has made all that possible. There are so many cloud-based tools now, from Slack, Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, and that list goes on. And it enables us to not just work from home and in the office, but anywhere and everywhere. And when I record these podcasts every day, I always have to have a little chat with the guest before we start recording to shut down all of those applications, because we're all hit with the never-ending bombardment of notifications and those sounds that they emit. I'm sure if they ever redid Name That Tune, I could name a tech notification noise in one bar. I know them all. But seriously, have you ever found yourself trying to look for a document or something that was sent to you and then forgot if it had come from Slack, SharePoint, Google Drive, email? It often feels like, although we've got all these tools, our work is actually scattered across multiple remote working applications. So how do you get round a problem like that? Well, I recently discovered a company called Onna, O-N-N-A, which promises to connect everything and enable people to do anything. In a nutshell, it enables workers to integrate, unify, and protect all of those knowledge platforms in one centralized, secure place so you can accelerate your productivity. So that sounds like the ultimate solution to my very first world problem of constantly losing information or forgetting where I put it. And Onna has also recently raised $27 million during lockdown, and also works with Slack, Dropbox, Fitbit, EA, and Lyft, to name but a few. So I wanted to learn more about that and how Onna uses machine learning to help consolidate knowledge and discover information from multiple connected apps. But enough from me. Buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Andorra, where Onna founder Salim Elkhou is waiting to speak with us now. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Salim. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Thank you for having me on the show. So my name is Salim. I'm the founder of Onna. I am also a father of a 9-month-old.
Wow, that is fantastic, because Onna is a knowledge integration platform startup that has raised $27 million during lockdown. Now, if you've been able to do that during lockdown with a 9-month-old, that is pretty impressive. But I should also highlight, it's backed by Atomico, Nauta Capital, and I even believe investors also include Slack and Dropbox. But can you set the scene and tell me a little bit more about the story behind the company?
And actually, my son came right at the time we were raising money. So I think we closed the round just a few days before he came. So it was a good time. And there really big events happening at the same time.
Yeah. So
far we've as a company, we raised 43 million, as you mentioned, from Atomico, Nauta Capital, Nauta as the main investors, but also Slack and Dropbox are investors there. And I should also mention that Slack and Dropbox are also customers and partners that we work with. So just to back up a little bit in my background, I had started the company basically out of college in the eDiscovery space. I'm not sure many people will be familiar with that space, but helping companies find internal knowledge for investigations and things of that sort. And during that process, I saw that many companies, every company that we were working with, had knowledge all over the place, and no one really had an easy way of organizing it. And that was causing massive issues on the eDiscovery side. So I figured I wanted to solve the root problem there. So I left that first company which got acquired by Ernst & Young, and then started working on Onna. So this is about 6 years ago. And as I mentioned, we raised 43 million so far, and we're about 150 people from San Francisco to Barcelona, passing through London, New York, Austin, and several other places these days.
Incredibly cool. And you did have a great background working with major names in tech. So I've got to ask you, tell me more about that and what it is that makes you excited about Onna right now.
Sounds good. So we've been working with major tech companies since day one, and we still do, and those relationships keep on growing. What makes me excited about Onna is really the ability to extract knowledge from this unstructured data that lives in so many different places, right? And why does extract knowledge makes me excited is really to enable people at work or outside of work eventually to use that information, that knowledge, to be able to do more with their lives, right? So really our vision statement as a company is enable people with their information, and our goal is to make that information accessible, useful, and keeping it private for the individuals and for the organizations.
And on that big funding round there, is there anything you can share about that, and any news and what that funding means to you as a company?
Well, the funding, was, we're a VC-backed business, so we're every so often we go out to raise money when it's the right time, and it was about the right time for us to do it last time. And so it really just means keep doubling down, tripling down on the value that we're providing our customers by building more in the product, by having more teams to deliver the product across, the different sectors, and just growing the company in a traditional sense.
And I'm curious, how has your relationship with, let's say, Slack, how has that grown since you founded Onna? Because you have come such a long way, haven't you?
As I mentioned, they're a customer, a partner, an investor as well. And if you look at Slack, it's really like the best example for unstructured data and how knowledge gets buried in tons and tons of messages across multiple teams. So we provide a lot of value there in finding the right information at the right time. And we're working with Slack, and we're working with a lot of customers who are using Slack. So it's a great relationship.
And what I love about listening to about your story here is you seem like a very humble guy, but I've got to mention as well, you were also recently named number 3 out of 100 top places to work in New York City from, I think it was Building NYC. So can you tell me about your recruiting strategy and what it's like to hire remotely and, of course, win that award as well?
Thank you. I truly believe since the start that creating the best environment for people to be able to deliver their best is a requirement, right? You cannot do anything without your teams, without your people behind you to deliver anything of scale. So, and as a lot of people can probably say the same thing, but it's really different trying to achieve that result. So getting that 100 top places to work is great, but it's really just a side effect of trying to do this on a daily basis, trying to create a great culture, a great environment for people to come join us, work with us.
And like we said, just before lockdown, you secured the funding, and then you've obviously had a healthy newborn son, 9 months old. So life has been incredibly busy. But I'm curious, how did you build your brand during COVID, and have you had to pivot along the way as well?
So since the start, we started in San Francisco, and San Francisco was just going to be a really hard place for us to build such a massive technological solution from day one. San Francisco is great for scale ups, but it's a little bit hard on startups. So since day one, we opened another office in Barcelona. So we were already semi-remote, international company. So really our brand has been built that way since day one. So we didn't have to pivot much, but we did have to hire a lot of people remotely. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. It's doing work over Zoom is good. It's efficient, but it's impersonal, and you don't. It's very transactional sometimes. You know what I mean? So we cannot wait to a time when we can get everybody back together in person. You know.
And for any business leaders that are listening here, what I'd love to talk about is why fragmented information across remote applications, and by that I mean things like Gmail, Slack, Dropbox, etc., is something that many CEOs possibly don't think about on a day-to-day basis. Can you expand on that for me?
It's fair that probably most CEOs are not thinking about that on a day-to-day basis, but what I think most CEOs are thinking about is about the knowledge that they need to run their business, but also the knowledge that every one of their teammates needs to run their business efficiently, right? And so knowledge, I think every CEO in one way or another thinks about the knowledge they can have to be the best at what they do. So, and that knowledge, a lot of that knowledge exists internally, and it's fragmented. It's fragmented in unstructured ways, right? Like not everything is entered neatly in Salesforce or other CRMs, and information gets created at rapid rates, whether it's over email or over Slack or over Jira or whatever platform, and making that information surface at the right time is a difficult task. And this is the problem we're solving, and this is why I think a lot of business leaders should care about data fragmentation.
And just for any business leaders that are listening today and hearing about Onna for the first time, could you possibly, give me a use case of the kind of problems that you're solving for your businesses, a typical use case of how they would get the most out of the platform? Yeah.
So I think, just one easy way of thinking about it is just search, right? Enterprise search, like what you're looking for something, a message that came through, but you don't remember if it was over Slack or email, or you don't know when, you know what I mean? So it's just like, so one place to find information. It's just one easy way of thinking about it. But then like now we're focused on working with large businesses. And these large businesses have a lot of regulatory and legal obligations to abide by. And not finding that information is very, very costly in some cases.
And what is your company's plans for the rest of 2021 and beyond? Is it continued growth and an ongoing strategy, or is there anything else that you can share with us about that road ahead? We
have some pretty aggressive targets as a business for 2021. So which will mean more hiring, more product development, and we're very excited about some of the things that we're going to be delivered to customers and to partners this year, tech-wise. So it's just more of everything, Neil. More product, more sales, more marketing, more growth.
Love it. I love how you've left us with a teaser there. So we'll have to get you back on later in the year. But before I do let you go, I always try and end the show on a positive note. So the last 12 months has been a turbulent time for everybody, wherever they're listening in the world. So what ways do you think technology is improving the world, and what excites you about that?
No. How much time do I have to think? How is technology improving the world? Tech in so many ways is doing a lot of good, but also a lot of bad, right? So it's just but focusing on the good. I'm sorry, this is going to be a little bit self-serving, but I really feel that like now we're creating so much information about ourselves as individuals, right? Like from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, and like there's so much we create that information needs to start working for us at some point, not just be used to sell us more stuff or consume more things. It should help you file your taxes without you having to spend hours in front of a computer, or should help you get a bank loan when you're ready to buy a house without spending months sending paperwork and things of that sort. You know, it's like that's I think that's the direction of tech. So I see that, and like I really believe that applications of the future will be based on knowledge, not just on databases. So I I'm not sure if that's good news over the last 12 months, but I think that's a positive direction of tech, and this is definitely one that we're trying to accelerate.
It really is certainly a step in the right direction. And finally, for anyone that would like to find out more information about Onna or connect with you, or maybe even just contact a member of your team if they've got any additional questions, what's the best way of doing that?
If you want to contact us, just check us out on Twitter, on LinkedIn, via our website, Onna.com with 2 N's, or at Onna HQ. Just looking forward to hearing from people.
Well, I'll add all those links to the blog post that will accompany this episode so people can find you all nice and easily. I love what you're doing with technology here, especially that helping companies discover information that would otherwise been scattered across so many different remote work applications from Gmail, Slack, etc. There's an increasing number of them now, and it is a bit of a problem. But also how you're helping power data-led automation on big issues for legal, compliance to HR. Again, list goes on and on. So thank you for sharing your story with me today. I'd love to get you back on later in the year, but more than anything, just thanks for joining me today, Salim. And I hope you have a few sleepless nights. Not sleepless. Hope you get. I hope you can get a bit of sleep as your little boy begins to teethe over the next few months too.
Thank you. We're in the crux of it right now. So it's luckily last night was a good one, so I have a little bit of energy to be able to deliver this message properly. But thank you, Neil. Thank you so much. I would love to reconnect at some point. Wow.
Salim is such a humble guy, but let's just back up for a moment. He has founded Onna. He helps companies discover information that would have otherwise been scattered across multiple remote working applications. He's helped raise $27 million, voted number 3 out of 100 top places to work in New York City from Build in NYC, and also has a 9-month-old teething son in lockdown. If all that doesn't impress you, nothing will. So, Salim, I'm going to stand up from my podcasting chair and salute you. Incredible work that you've done there. So I'm looking forward to staying in touch and following the journey that Onna are on there. And now it has been said that I do suffer from a musical form of Tourette where I hear certain keywords and go straight into a song. I must confess, I had to rein myself in there from bursting into Mona by Craig McLachlan and suddenly go, hey, Onna, ooh, Onna. Oh dear. And on that note, I think it's time for me to get out of here. As for everybody listening, how are you managing that problem with all these different remote working applications from Slack, Zoom, Teams, Google Drive, email, etc.? I would love to hear more from you, your experiences, your insights, the solutions that you've found, what works, what doesn't, a whole lot of it. Please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. You can also get me on LinkedIn at Neil C. Hughes, and my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. I'm interested in what you're all going to send my way there. So please keep those coming in and we'll explore another topic together tomorrow. So thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.